Welcome back to another edition of Build Your Legacy Insurance Edition podcast. This week, we've got another episode with Adam Connor and I from RPS. The other week, we had a great conversation about cyber, so good, in fact, that we broke it up into two episodes. The first episode broke down the basic sort of entry-level education on cyber. And then as we continued our conversation, we got into market trends, pricing, and even some crazy claims examples that Adam has seen recently. And so we thought that would be good for its own episode. And that's what you're going to see here today. So hope you guys enjoy. Talk to me about the marketplace from cyber. You know, it's for a while, it's been the fastest growing product in the industry to begin with. So What are some trends that you're seeing in your world lately?
I think we all know 2020, 2021, the prices went through the roof. Everybody wanted it. They couldn't get it. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Well, since then, and everybody worked from home, right?
Yeah.
Everybody went from working at work to working from home. Networks weren't prepared for that. There was a lot of intrusions. There was a lot of duping people into making bad decisions, clicking on things.
Well, I saw a few of those emails.
Yes. What we've done now is the marketplace since then, everybody kind of got adjusted, right? Their networks got stronger. People got more familiar with protocols. They got more educated. Employees are more educated. So more carriers were comfortable with it, with offering the coverage, right? So what happens when more carriers are more comfortable? There's more competition, prices go down, right? So we saw price skyrocket. Now they really, really went way down over the last couple of years. And we're still maintaining a pretty stagnant marketplace today.
Okay.
But things are changing. We are seeing some consolidation in the marketplace. Some insurtechs are being purchased or merged or acquired. So we are seeing some consolidation. We're kind of holding tight and seeing what's going to happen. On small business, we're pretty flat on pricing. On some large business, you would see some decreases in pricing, maybe some reduced retentions. The claims activity that we're seeing today is similar to the claims activity that we were seeing back in 2021, 2020.
Okay.
Intrusions are up 72% over 2023 right now. We are seeing a massive increase in network intrusions.
What do you think is driving the uptick in claims? I mean, is there something that we could point to that, is causing that?
Cyber fatigue might be one. You're inundated with multi-factor authentication. A claim that we see fairly often is that a threat actor will log in. They'll try to be logging in, right? And then the multi-factor comes to your phone, and you go, no, decline. We see people get annoyed, so they just say, okay.
I'm sorry for laughing, but okay. I see that. Yeah.
They're just fatigued.
They just wear you down.
They wear you down. And they're just like, okay, there must be something going on here. Okay, I'll just say accept. And then the threat actor gets into the network. We have seen a decrease in ransom payments.
Okay.
Twofold. Some states, your state, the government doesn't have to pay ransoms or rebuild. Other places, it's cheaper to rebuild, or they just no longer want to pay ransoms to the threat actors, right? You're taking a stand. Companies are taking a stand saying, hey, we're not going to pay. We're going to rebuild. The reason that insurance carriers are willing to pay threat actors or bad guys, right, is because there's an honor, right? There's hey, give me I'll pay you. You give me the key to unlock my network, and then my network's unlocked, and I move on, right? Well, if they stop doing that, if the threat actor stops giving out the key and getting your information back, or if they start doing this, then blackmailing you a couple years later, they can't get that money.
Right.
Insurance carriers are going to stop paying. They're going to say, hey,
there's no point in
honorable.
it.
Yeah, you're not honorable. You're not going to give us what we want, so we're not going to pay you anymore.
Yeah. You've mentioned the rebuild the network aspect of it a few times, right? So why don't we go down that path, kind of go more on the small business side? What do you see in that space, more of the small business Is it ransom? Is it a rebuild? What do you see sort of trending there?
The number one issue right now out there on cyber policies for companies is social engineering, also known as cyber deception, also known as fraudulent instruction. The industry hasn't created a common name for things yet. So bear with me.
Workshopping stuff.
Yes. But ultimately what that means is email comes into your company. They ask you to pay an invoice. You pay it. You realize later that was a fraudulent email and you're out that money.
Right.
That's pretty large exposure for small companies.
Mm-hmm.
They either spoof somebody internally, so it looks like the CEO or the president of the company's asking you to do this, or it's a third party, a new vendor. You don't want to slow down the process of a new client, so you just do it.
Right.
It's a pretty big exposure. So understanding social engineering, understanding your process, make a call.
Recently, we work with a lot of startup agents. And so when they go through their process of setting up their entity, they're getting emails or mailings from what is posing as the Secretary of State going, hey, to finish your filing, you owe us this. You need to pay this invoice, but it's not coming from the Secretary of State. So that is an example of that threat actor that we're seeing in real time with agency owners as they're going through the startup phase of their business right now.
Yep. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. New employees, new companies, anything new. They're going after that new person, that new company, and that's who they're going to go after because they have so much going on.
It's the weak link, so to speak.
Yeah. If you want to talk real quick about some weird claims, activity that we had, there was an intrusion. It got into the network. It got onto the president's email. It tracked down their Coinbase login and transferred all of their Coinbase account out because they broke in to the company's network and then stole the president's Coinbase. It actually was a covered loss. Typically, that's, if it's just an employee or something, that's not quite the same. But because they're more connected,
because it's so close,
yes,
okay,
So we were able to recover. Well, not recover, but reimburse the president of that organization for their Coinbase account loss.
Oh, wow.
Something new that's coming around. It's somewhat old, but now it's a coverage that people are talking about. Carriers, I haven't seen anybody officially do it yet, but it looks like it's coming. And this is something for small businesses again. It's called card tumbling. And larger companies, their credit card processor, you can pay for your insurance online, right? You can go online, pay for it, put your credit card in, do that. What the threat actors, what the scammers are doing is they buy or they steal credit cards, and then they want to see if they're good or not, or if they've already been turned off or what have you, right? So they create an algorithm and they run all these credit cards to see if they're real. They'll just put $1 on it or something like that just to see if they're, for big companies, no big deal. It's just part of the cost of
doing business,
of their monthly subscription or annual or however much they pay for a credit card processor. For small businesses, some small businesses pay their credit card processor per transaction.
So that $1 is costing them $3 or $4 or whatever it might be. Yeah. And
so or, even $1, So if you have 90,000 cards that you're trying to tumble through there just to see if they're active, because you're not going to throw 3 through there. They're going to buy bundles of them.
Right.
You could be suddenly on the hook for 90,000. Nobody got into your network. Nobody intruded. There was no breach of your network. They used a public access point. And because of how your contract's set up, you're on that hook. It happens very infrequently, but we do see the exposure out there.
I think that kind of circles back to you need to educate yourself on one, what cyber is. And I think we've done a good job of that here today. But then two, we need to know that, hey, there's a continued evolution in this, that the product's evolving, your exposure's evolving, the threat actors are evolving. You need to stay vigilant on it for both yourself and your client's perspective.
Let's not even get into AI, right?
I was gonna say, I don't know if we got time for that one today.
No.
Well, look, Adam, I genuinely appreciate you taking the time today. I think we've covered some good ground here to where others can kind of, develop a basic understanding, but also help themselves with, one, why they need it, but then overcome some of those objections they might have with some of their clients in the marketplace. So appreciate you hopping on, taking the time, and we're going to hop off here and we'll see you guys again on another episode.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Thanks for tuning in. You can catch our Build Your Legacy Insurance Edition podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. Be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, or send us over a topic recommendation at podcast@siaofnc.com. If you're interested in learning more about what we do, visit us online at www.siaofnc.com. We hope you enjoyed our newest episode. See you next week.